Christ is King and every knee will bow. Absolutely still here. Today, for the 6th video in this series, we are going to prove that Yeshua, Jesus, is the risen Lord and God, the creator of all things, by providing some supporting evidence. One piece of supporting evidence is that the miracles of Jesus are conceded by modern skeptical scholars. Of note, scholar Rudolf Bultmann, a famous German New Testament scholar, wrote that there can be no doubt that Jesus did the kind of deeds which were miracles to his mind and to the minds of his contemporaries. That is, deeds which were attributed to a supernatural divine cause. Undoubtedly, he healed the sick and cast out demons. Just of note here, whenever I give a quote, 8 times out of 10, it's gonna be from a New Testament scholar that's being quoted in this book. Sometimes I'm reading text from the author itself, but continuing on, Jesus' miracles, not only are they conceded by modern skeptical scholars, Jesus' miracles were conceded by Jews in the 1st century and beyond. For example, whenever we look at Mark 3:22, Matthew 9:34, Luke 11:25, and the scribes who came down from Jerusalem were saying he is possessed by Beelzebub, by the prince of demons. He cast out the demons. So they didn't say, Jesus is making it look like he did something, but he didn't actually heal this person who has been, sick for 30 years sitting by the temple and never has walked a day, and now everyone sees him walking and picking up his mat. He didn't just make it look like the guy did it. No, he is possessed by a demon. He's using his relationship with demons to perform these works. Now you might say, it's just in the Gospels, and maybe they were just making all that up, right? Because it's in the Bible. So since it's in the Bible and it's a collection of 66 books by dozens of authors, noting the same, that Yeshua is the Lord and he was prophesied through the Old Testament, then we see stories of him in the New Testament, right? But it's highly unlikely, this is quoting directly from the book, highly unlikely that the gospel writers or their Christian sources would volunteer to non-believers this way of explaining away Jesus' miracles. Why give people a way to explain away his miracles? Why would they invent that, right? What reasoning would they have to invent it? To invent this explanation for other people to have to dismiss Jesus' miracles, right? Come up with a counter explanation there. We may therefore consider it certain that the 1st century Jewish critics of Christianity were claiming Jesus performed miracles by the power of the devil. Josephus, historian, we've touched on Josephus a few times, 1st century historian, and he noted that Jesus was indeed a worker of amazing deeds. That is within a disputed passage by Josephus. However, this phrase, a worker of amazing deeds, it's accepted by scholars. That was not altered. Jews after the 1st century conceded the miracles of Jesus, but attributed them to sorcery. Best known source is the Babylonian Talmud, which stated that Jesus was guilty of sorcery. In SANH 43a, the Babylonian Talmud was compiled from about the 3rd to 5th centuries, includes rabbinical traditions going back to the time of Jesus. Of note, a New Testament scholar wrote, although the material does not give us contemporary evidence of Jesus being a miracle worker, it does give us, importantly, independent and indirect evidence in that it shows that Jesus was remembered to be a sorcerer healer. Though the rabbinical material is late, it is valuable that it does not appear to be dependent on Christian tradition. It's not Christians alone who are saying that Yeshua, Jesus, that he performed miracles, right? So he did miracles. We got that, right? Okay, so he did miracles. That doesn't mean that he's God. Maybe he tapped into something within the consciousness that we're just not tapped into, right? Maybe, right? His contemporaries also attested in different ways to his sinlessness. So whenever we're thinking about his interactions with the Jews, or what Jews criticized Jesus for, what did they criticize him for? When he claimed to be sinless, did they criticize him? No, Jesus, you're not sinless. You're getting drunk every night, right? You're with all these ladies. We know you're not sinless. We saw you whenever you were 19, right? You were sitting on the curb and you were just like boozing away on wine and saying I'm the Son of God, right? And you're obviously not the Son of God there. I mean, you're doing some stuff that I don't think God would do, right? But no, that's not what happened. The people contemporary with Jesus, his critics, criticized him for breaking the Sabbath by doing work on it. They criticized him for being a friend to tax collectors, sinners. They criticized him for claiming to be the king of the Jews in rebellion against Caesar. They criticized him because they interpreted some of his statements as that he was going to destroy the temple. So in that, they made a sinless God. Christ is king and every knee will bow.